Send a message. Okay, cool. So we are starting our week 3 stream today for Intro to JavaScript. And let me just notify everyone real quick. I will drop the Twitch link also. And yeah, we'll get started with Julio Quest in a second. I'll give people a chance to join. Just want to give some updates on the previous streams and the previous weeks. So we've been covering JavaScript syntax. We did some stuff with arrays last week. We did some string manipulation, which we had a little tiny bit of trouble with, but we got that under control. What else have we done? We covered a lot of functions, passing command line arguments, function parameters, all that fun stuff, all that cool stuff. So getting into writing fuller JavaScript programs, which we will also cover today. So today we just want to get comfortable with full programs, more string and string functions, arrays, lists, functions, returns, all that cool stuff. And then we're going to get into some fun recursion, which I love. I don't love recursion. I am in a fundamentals of algorithms class right now, and every time I hear the word recursion, I blink. My mind goes blank, but that's okay because today we're gonna learn about recursion. There's some updates to the GitHub Learning Lab content that we're gonna get out to everyone soon. So that will cover recursion, some cool stuff in there. Other than that, we just want to have everyone caught up on the week 1 and week 2 assignments. So week 1 was like BizBuzz, get everyone comfortable with doing the learning labs and pull requests, and make sure we add our mentors as reviewers so they can see the pull requests before we merge them. And week 2 had some Roman calculator activities that we had a work session yesterday to get everyone caught up. If you weren't able to join that, we will be having another one this Wednesday. In the Slack, we're voting on the times to do that. And then we'll have another one on Sunday. So we can have everyone caught up before we start our final projects, which everyone should have a chance to meet with their mentor to discuss what they want to do for their final projects and send any questions or concerns in this Slack. So yeah, I will start up my Twilio quest, and let me open VS Code 2 before I do that. And I will share my screen. Okay, so this is just this is where we left off the last stream. We had, where is it? Was it add to last? No, it was this one. This was the exercise we left off at last time, where we had to sort an array, and then we wanted to slice the array. So the output of this code right here, we wanted to get apple and bat, I believe. We had some trouble with the slice right here because we were just passing in number instead of 0, number. But now when we run this, first amount, sorted the yes, yeah. So now we get apple and bat, no problems now. So we figured that out, and we did this in Twilio quest, so we got past that one. So let's see what our next one is. My computer's already. Let me close some things. Apply Notion. Sorry. Is there anything else I can close? Bye, Slack. Okay. Okay, yeah, that showed up because I still didn't finish the basic training from when I moved everything over to the new computer. So we can ignore that. We got through here, and then there was that explosion in the lab. We still have some beams to fix, so we fixed this one. Got past this. Let's look at this. So we still need to get the electrical engineer's activation code. So we were over here, and let's see, this one we used some arrays. So this was the Writer inventory JS. So this one was just a simple array that we created and got through that. This one, we used indexes for the array. So the add first to last allowed us to just concatenate some strings. So we did that, got through there. And this was the last one that we did, I believe. Yeah, so we learned to split arrays into multiple arrays and then to sort the items. So that's the one I just briefly went over, where we returned apple and bat, I believe. Over here. Give me a second. Okay. Wait. I'm gonna just take a look. Oh, it's close. Hold on. What's this? Okay. For each their own. So you'll need to execute a chunk of code once for each item in an array. This is accomplished by using a loop. Learn to use the array built-in function for each to accomplish this. So I think if I do this one, it'll unlock the rest of these, which I kind of want to do, but I don't want to get distracted from getting that code. I'm going to do it. Yeah, let's just go for it. Okay. So inside one of the secure cargo holds in the infinite loop, you find one of the security nodes you need to disable. This node is currently locked down because of a misbehaving JavaScript function that is intended to scan the freighter's cargo for suspicious content. You need to repair this function in order to hack the node and retrieve the missing index for the infinite loop master password. Okay, cool. So we're going to create this file in our code folder that we have, and we're going to create a JavaScript function called scan. This function should take a single argument, an array of strings, and your scan function must loop through all the strings in this array and examine each one using Boolean logic. Okay, if a string in the array is equal to the value contraband, you should increment a number which would represent the number of times you found the contraband. And once you've looped through the entire array, we return the number of times you found the string. Okay, we can do this. So I'll make my new file and save that as, come on, I just got this thing. Okay, save that. And we want to create a function called scan that takes in an array of strings as an argument. So to string array. And what we want to do is it's going to loop through this array, and every time a string in the array is equal to the value contraband, then we increment this number. So we need to create something to keep track of the contraband. So I don't think I can use const with this. Let's see. Yeah, so this one we have to use let because we need to increment it. So we will let, let's call it contraband, and we'll set that equal to 0 right now. What we want to do is loop through, and we're going to return the contraband count. So they gave us a better name than I came up with. So I use that. Yeah, I like that one better. Contraband count. And at the end of our code, we want to return this count. Contraband count. So now we need to find out how we can loop through this string array. And I do believe it mentioned for each, so iteration with for each. So we can check that link out. And I will open a new window here. So we have some array methods. Iterate for each. So this will allow us to run a function for every element of an array. So we'll take the, let's see, the name of the array, or the array here, and call for each, and then whatever function you need to run. So let's see. I've never used for each before, so allows to run a function for every element of the array. Oh, so can we let's see. So we would do like string array for each. Oh, that was fancy VS Code. Okay. What just happened? Why'd they do that? What's happening? Okay.
Okay, so I think, and again, I'm not technically a JavaScript developer. I've just written a lot of JavaScript. I think what you want to do there is extend it off of the. I think you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me just type what I think. Sorry, words are hard. My programming brain and my communicating brain are not the same brain. Okay, so string array is the name of your array, and then you want to use the for each function off of that, and then inside of the parentheses for the for each function, you are basically telling it what you want it to call the element inside of the loop, and then the little arrow is what you want it to execute with that.
Oh, okay. So let's see. We want to, I'll call it contents. This is the contents of the cargo. That. And then this is where we're like checking each content. So we'll do like an if statement if the content is, we have these triple equal to contraband. Did I spell contraband correctly? Contraband, I think. Why is that there? If that is true, then contraband count, maybe plus equal 1 here. Is it plus plus? I think. Let's look at this. So I'll put some lines to make this a little clearer. So we have contraband count, which is equal to 0. And then we use our for each, where we have content, and this will go through the contents of our array. So if content is equal to contraband, which is what Toya Quest asked, I believe. Yes, so if the array is equal to the value contraband, then we increment the number that is counting, and at the end, we want to return contraband count. Let's see. Yeah, okay, cool, that worked. So you hack the security node and an index for the first character, and the infinite loop master password appears. Oh, this is one of 6 indexes total you will need to discover the password. 1, 3. Okay. This seems like, let me in. Okay. Let's check out. Let's check what this is. Oh, I should put my phone. My thing on do not disturb. Okay. So the electrical engineer is trapped behind the security barrier. Solve the puzzle of the infinite loop harder to figure. Oh, okay. So so I was right. I didn't get distracted. That was a part of this. Okay, that's convenient. So once we solve all of these, we can get to the electrical engineer. So we got the first one. This is 1, 3. Let's go. Why are they all closed? Oh. Wait a minute. Just like the numbers outside. I wonder if they're connected. I should take a walk around this room. I did that. It's still closed off. Hit this one. Okay. But it won't let me in. Not sure. There's nothing over here. Nothing over here either. What's the big idea? I wonder if I should take a walk around this room. I did. Oh wait, this room? Oh. What? Okay. Things changed. Now this is closed again. This is closed, this is closed. But 5 is open. Okay. So that number is the one that I have to go to. Okay. That's trippy. Did you know that the items inside an array can be other arrays? Gosh. Learn about the array inception in this objective. Okay, so this one, we just answered some questions. So inside one of the secure cargo holds in the infinite loop, you find one of the security nodes you need to disable to reach the Twilio Quest program's electrical engineer. This node is currently locked down because of 2 incorrectly configured environment variables, which are contained within a 2-dimensional array. You need to assign the right values for these variables in order to hack the node and retrieve the missing index for the infinite loop master password. So we'll look at this 2-dimensional array. Dogs, cats, zebras, pizza, doggo, kale. I love kale. Baseball, football, hockey. Okay, and the text fields on the right ask you for the values at 2 different indexes. Once you work out what these values are, enter them in appropriate fields and click hack. So in the 2D array in the objective, we'll have values at the index 0, 0. So we'll go to the first array, and then the first value in that array. So we have dogs. And then we want the value at index 2, 2. So we'll go 0, 1, 2. That's our array. And we'll go 0, 1, 2. So we have hockey. Cool. So now we hack the security node and an index for the 6th and final character in the infinite loop master's password appears. So we still need to find 4 more. I think I have to walk around this again. Perhaps. It's going back to 0. Did I walk in the wrong direction? Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, no, that's why. That's why it made me go to the last one. Because I walked in the wrong direction the first time. Yeah, that was not very intelligent of me. Okay. Yeah. Ha. Okay, now we can go to number 1. Sorry about that. But we finished the last one. That's cool. So for this one, you need to execute a chunk of code once for each item in an array. This is accomplished by using a loop. So similar to the last one, I believe, we'll create a file. We need to create a file called WriteScanner2, and we'll create another function called scan. So yeah, similar to the last one. This function will take a single argument, an array of strings, and we have another variable. So if the string in the input array is equal to the value contraband, then we add the index of that item to an output array. And when you finish scanning the entire input array, return the output array. Okay, cool. So let's check out the starter code they give us. So we just want, instead of having the integer that counts how many contraband items we find, we're going to have an array that just keeps track of the indexes. So we can do a new program here and save that. And we have functions and what do they call it? Items. Yeah, we'll just take this. That would be smart. Okay. So our code needs to loop through every item in the fry items array. And if the item is equal to contraband, we add the current index of the item. So we'll use the array push method. Cool. Thanks for that hint. I will do that somewhere here just to remember. We'll use that. Soon. So first we have to loop through. So similar to how we did it in the previous exercise, we'll do right items for each. Not sure why it does that. That's a VS Code thing. And then we'll do contents again. So now we want to check. Sorry, the rain is super loud outside my window. Now we want to check if contents is equal to contraband. Again, this is where we want to push the index of our input array where it found contraband into our contraband indexes, and then we're going to return contraband index. So we will take the we'll take the right items, and how do I get the index of that?
Okay, so the arrow that you're using is actually a signifier of an anonymous function. So for this one, the way I know how to do it, there's probably a elite hacksaw way to do it, but the way I know how to do it, I went and put it in the private chat. And that is, instead of using an anonymous function, to actually just use a function so that you can tell it two different variable names. The first one being for the value in that element of the array, and the second one being for the index in that value in the array. And then you just open and close your function with the curly braces instead of using the fancy elite hacksaw anonymous function arrow.
Okay, so
did that make sense? I put it in the private chat.
Let me check that out really quick. I just don't want the stream to have that infinite window thingy.
To do the infinite. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is right items for each and function value. Okay, cool. Let me share that again. Okay. So what you said was we'll do right items for each, and then our value, our index, and then in these curly brackets is where we'll do the if statement, right?
You got it.
Cool. So let me get rid of this mess, because this is right. So we use this approach. Let's check this out. I have a VS Code extension for like tabs and stuff, which is why it looks all crazy colored right now. So I'll need to disable those for next time, because it might be distracting to some people. So we have for each, and we have the value index, and we want to check if our value is equal to contraband. Oops. Contraband. I wish I could type. Then we want to push onto the right. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. We want to push onto contraband indexes, not our right items. We want to push the index there. So let me just move this, clean this up a little. Okay, so now we have our scan function, and this right items is an array of strings, and then we create a new array that will keep track of the indexes of right items that has contraband. So for now it's empty because we just started. So now we will iterate through our right items, and we have the value and the index of each item in that array. So if the value is equal to contraband, what we want to do is take our contraband indexes array here, and we want to push onto that the index. So then at the end of this scan function, we'll return contraband indexes. Oh man. Okay. Right items is not defined. Didn't you define it? Okay. Let me look at that. Oh, it's just a spelling error. My bad. Yeah, that's all. Hopefully, that's all. Okay, yeah, it was just a spelling error, not I before E. Okay. So that did it. You hack the security node, and an index for the second character in the infinite loop master's password appears. So this is one of 6 indexes. So we already got 3, so we have 3 more. And now I know up here I need to go in the proper direction. Maybe I should have followed the green and red. That would have been very intelligent. Now, we got 2 open. Let's check this out. We're going to learn to filter JavaScript arrays, returning only the good stuff. Cool. So we will create a file called FrightFilter, and we're going to create a function called scan and filter. And this function will take in 2 arguments, an array of strings, and a string of text to filter out from that array. If scan and filter functions, you use the array filter function for this purpose. So your function might be called like this and return the result describing the example. So we have apples, ray guns, oranges, tacos, ray guns. Filter cargo, scan and filter cargo, ray guns. So this will filter out all the elements that contain ray guns. So we're left with apples, oranges, and tacos. So I'm going to create the file and then do the function, and then we can take a look at the array filter function documentation really quick. So let me do that. Let's create this file. And I'll check out help tab. And we'll start with this. So we have scan and filter, where we take in right items and the forbidden string. So that's what we're going to filter out. This is an array variable you can override with your filter array. So this will be the new array that we create, and we'll return the filtered items. And we'll replace this. We'll use the array filter function. So I'll go back to the objective here. And again, Twilio Quest comes through with the documentation. So we're gonna check this out. For our array methods, we have filter. So the find method looks for a single first element that makes the function return true. If there may be many, we use the array filter function. So the syntax is similar to find, but filter returns an array of all matching elements. So if we let results equal a filter, let's see. If true, the item is pushed to results and the iteration continues, and it returns an empty array if nothing is found. So we have an array of ID and usernames, and here we filter items. We filter them if the item ID is less than 3. So 1 and 2 are less than 3. And then it will return, well, it tells us that there are 2 user IDs that are less than 3. So let's go back to the code here, and we want to filter our fright items and use the forbidden string as what we filter out. So we'll do fright items filter.
So the thing about the filter is it's going to create a new array for you. So you're going to want to assign that to a new constant.
So will we be able to use the filtered items that they created for us? Cool.
Sure. Then you just assign that. Yeah, it would just be filtered items equals. Yep.
And then our filter
and then in the parentheses, the first thing it's a loop. It's another loop. So the first thing that you put in there is what you want to name element as you're looping through it, and then you use the arrow to then give it the conditional that it will look for.
Sorry, I had an alarm set for the original stream time, and it just scared me.
It's time to get ready for the not rescheduled stream.
Yeah, that just threw me off. So you said for the filter function, we pass in so
this is going to loop through your array. So in the parentheses, the first word that you put in is just what you're going to be calling the element of the array as you're looping through it, and then you can use the arrow as the anonymous function to then tell it what condition you're looking for.
Is the right arrow?
I put it in the private chat.
I'm used to, that's the arrow used for pointers and stuff. Let me check it out. Okay. Back to sharing. My hat's crooked. Okay. Share screen. Let's check that out. So here we already have our filtered array, cool, and our existing array, which is write items, and we'll filter our array element. So I just called that cargo here, and then our condition, which we want it to
So for this condition, we want it to not equal our forbidden string. So we only want to return it if it's not equal to the forbidden string. So cargo not equal forbidden string.
So then we can do cargo forbidden string, and then we want that to equal true.
No, it's just gonna. You don't need the double comparison. You only need the one comparison. The equal true was just me like giving an example of a comparison. It was not the right comparison for this situation.
Got it. I need to disable this extension with all these colors. So now what we have is we ToolQuest, the code provided in the help section, it created this filtered items array, and at the start of our function, it is empty because this is where we'll keep track of the items we have after we filter out the forbidden string. So then we want to set that equal to this here, where we'll take our write items, so that's our original array, and we'll filter out any cargo that we'll filter any cargo that's equal to the forbidden string. So in our new one, it'll only give us what's not equal to the forbidden string. If that makes sense. I could have explained that.
Brian thinks your equal not is backwards. I know that in PHP not equal.
It definitely is. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, this should work. We're gonna hope for the best. Yes, okay. So hack the security node and an index for the third character, and the infinite loop master password appears. So now we have two more. Yeah. So I think we can get through these two and then talk about recursion a little. I also update the GitHub to include all the code we went through today. I was able to put the code from last week and the week before stream on GitHub. So if you're going through the tutorial quest and maybe get stuck a little, or you just want to catch up on what we've gone over on the stream, feel free to check those out. So now I have to go back, make sure I go in the correct direction. Yeah, I really went backwards. That was crazy. Now we have number 3. We'll execute a chunk of code for every item in the JavaScript array and return a new array of items as a result. I'm sick of it. Array stuff. We'll create a file called mutator, and this function should take one argument, an array of strings to be transformed. Your mutate function should use the array map function to take every string in the input array and convert it to all caps. Your function must then return the mutated array. Okay, so let's see. We'll create that new file. Mutator. What is it? Oh, okay. So we're creating a function called mutate. I'll use this again. I like this. This is very helpful. So we have our function mutate that takes in an array of write items, and this is where we'll use this variable here. We'll use this array to save our mutated array, and then we'll return that. So now I want to take a quick look at the documentation for map function. I'm learning a lot about array methods today. So the array map method is one of the most useful and often used. Okay, that's good to know. It calls a function for each element of the array and returns the array of results. So here's the syntax, similar to the ones we just did. Call the map function and item index array. Cool. And here we'll transform each element into its length. Okay. So we take the item and then we transform it to the item length. So then when we return that, we'll get the length of each string in this array. That's cool. I like that. That's cute. Okay. Let's see. So then uses the little fancy arrow thing. All right, so for this one, we want to transform it to all caps. So I know JavaScript has a two lowercase.
Two uppercase.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
It's one of its strings functions. Yep.
I wanted to make sure I wasn't making that up. So because I know in one of the previous exercises, which I can't remember the name off the top of my head, we had to use the two lowercase function. I wish I could remember which one it was. I don't want to just like click through all of these. Oh, so here it is. Okay, that was lucky. So in the sort order one, I believe this was last week, we used two lowercase to compare two strings without worrying about the case of it. So we'll do something similar today. We'll use two uppercase. So we'll take our mutated items and we want to set that equal to our right items e for I, and we use map. And in that map, we want to take our cargo and use our fancy arrow routine, and we'll do right items.
You want to use the cargo because that's the element that you're mutating. So you want to use the cargo as the base for your function. Yep, you got it.
Cargo and then two. And we return our mutated items. So take a look at this again. Yeah, that was pretty straightforward, more straightforward than the other one. Or maybe I'm just getting used to this. Yeah, that's it. That's the case. So we have our mutated items array, which is empty at the start of our function. And we'll set that equal to we'll use our right items, so the elements in this array. And we want to use our map function to change all of those to uppercase, which let me double check. That's our objective. Yep, to convert it to all caps. And then we return our mutated items array. So that was our fifth one, I believe. I think we have one more left. And then we can get this engineer out of this office. We have one more because I accidentally went around this way and did 5 before the other ones. So yeah, this is our last one. So now we will learn to execute a chunk of code for every item in a JavaScript array and return a single piece of data as a result. So we will fix the mass calculation. So we have the right mass file is what we're going to create. And we're going to create a function called calculate mass. So this function will take in one argument, similar to the last ones, an array of string. And we should use the array reduce function to take every string in the input array, find out how long the string is, and keep a running tally of the total length of all strings in the array. Okay, we can do that. And then we'll return the total length, so the mass of the cargo. Okay, cool. So let me just create that file, and then we can, again, take a look at the documentation for that function. So mass, and then we will use this function here. Beautiful, beautiful. And so they give us, they create a total mass variable for us, and that's set to 0 initially. And we will, we will check out the reduce function. Check out the documentation for that. Okay. So when we need to iterate over an array, we can use for each, for, or for of. When we need to iterate and return the data for each element, we can use map. And the methods reduce and reduce right also belong to that breed, but are a little more intricate. So they are used to calculate a single value based on the array. So here is the syntax, and we have a new friend here, accumulator. Okay, and this is lengthy. The function is applied to all array elements one after another and carries on its result to the next call. So this breaks down the arguments that we have for this function. So the accumulator is the result of the previous function call. Item is the current array item, index is position, and array is the array. Okay. So as the function is applied, the result of the previous function call is passed to the next one as the first argument. Okay, I got you. I'm following along. So the first argument is essentially the accumulator that stores the combined result of all previous executions. And at the end, it becomes the results of reduce. Okay, I'm following. It sounds complicated at first, yes, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. So we have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we call the reduce function, and we pass in sum as our accumulator, I believe. Yes, and current is the item that we have. So then we want sum plus current. Yeah. What's the 0? Oh, I'm confusing myself. But the sum keep track of the sum of our array, which is similar to what we want to do in Twilio class. We want to get the mass, so the length of our strings. So we'll use I believe JavaScript is .length.
I believe the 0 is your starting value.
Okay, cool. So, the starting value of sum. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. First one, sum is 0. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's try this. This might be a total mess because I think I'm overcomplicating things and confusing myself, but let's try it out. We have total mass, and we want that to be equal to our freight items dot reduce. Cool. So then we want cargo, I believe. Oh no, we have two. So we want cargo and let me put another. We have cargo because cargo is oh no, we want sum and then cargo. Sorry. So we'll just call that mass and then cargo. And then we use our next little arrow. So now we want to get the length of cargo and add that to the mass. So we'll do sum plus cargo dot length. Or sorry, not sum. We'll do mass. Mass plus cargo. I wish I could spell it. I think JavaScript is the length. Yeah, it turned blue, so I'm thinking that's right. And then we want 0 to be our initial mass. And then we'll return our total mass. Okay. That was a little complicated for me, at least at first, but I think this should work.
And I believe that if your starting value is 0, that you don't have to include it, that it will assume 0 if nothing's included. But I could be wrong about that. Implicit is never a bad thing.
All right, so 0 might not be needed, but I'm scared, so we're gonna keep it 0. But to break this down one more time, we let our total mass equal to 0 initially, and we want total mass to equal. We take the freight items and we call the reduce function. And then here we have a value mass, which will keep track of our mass while in this function. And we have cargo, which is the elements of our freight items array. So it'll loop through that and it'll add the length of each element to mass. And then this 0 here is just our initial value. So every time it'll loop through and add it to mass. And then we want to return our total mass. That's a cool function. Let's see if I used it correctly. I didn't. Cargo length is not a function. Okay. Why did it turn blue? I don't believe that. Let's see. How do I get the length of a string in JavaScript? Let's check that out.
Maybe it doesn't want parentheses after length.
Let's see. Yeah, there's no parentheses. Why did it turn blue? They tricked me. Okay. Yeah, it was the parentheses. Boom. Okay. So now we got all the thingies because I did 5 already. That's very embarrassing. I did that in the wrong order, but that's okay. So now we have e-security. Let's read this. It's 6. The infinite loop's master password is 6 characters long. Each character in the password can be found in the following 2-dimensional array. Oh, we have to crack the password. Okay, I thought all of these would. I thought I would just type these in and it'd be the password. No, we have to crack it. So each security node inside the writer contains an index within this array for one character of the password, and it will be given to you in the form XY, where X is the numerical index of the row the character is in, and Y is the numerical index of the column. So here are all the indexes that we just found, and now we have to decipher the password. Okay, that's cool. I thought that these would just be some numbers that I could put in, but they didn't make it that easy, but that's okay. So our first character is 1, 3, so we'll go 0, 1 for the row, and then our column will be 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have F. We have 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hope I'm doing this correctly. 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 0, 0, 1, 2. Finite. Yeah, that was clever. Okay. So the laser barrier fades away and you are able to proceed onward to speak with the electrical engineer. Thank you. That was a lot. So here's the hardware token you need to activate beam 3. Thank you so much. Bonus points for a loop pun on top of it. I'll head out to the experiment room after I finish up in here. Okay, we got the thingy, the hardware from her to fix that beam. So we'll go back here, and this is the last one we're going to do for today's stream, and then we'll get to talk about recursion for a bit. So, what happened? Oh. Okay, I actually have to do this. Sorry, I thought I could just click hack and then, yeah, I got ahead of myself. Okay, so we'll create a file called laser power. We'll create a JavaScript function called calculate power. It'll take in one argument, an array of numbers, and this contains aggregate power settings for the laser. But the input numbers are off by a little bit. So your calculate power function should first adjust all the values in the input array by multiplying them by 2. And then afterward, we must add all of those numbers together and return the result from your function. Let me read that again to make sure I got that. So adjust all the values by multiplying by 2. Afterward, add all of those numbers together, and then we'll return. Okay, I want to go through this, but I also want to give you time to talk about recursion. Yeah.
Okay, well, this is we can use a form of recursion to solve this one. So you can use the reduce function to do slightly more complicated things than we did last time, where we were just adding things up. We can actually create a function that does all of the things that we want to do with reduce, and then just feed that function in instead of the anonymous function, and it will call that function every time it goes through its reduce loop. And that's recursion, because basically recursion is just calling out to a function over and over and over again until you are done doing what you want to do. So for example, say you are using one of these functions that loops through an array and you want to get complicated with it. You want to do 3 things instead of 1 thing with every element in the array. So you make a separate function that takes in that, it's going to be the element from array, but the function doesn't need to know that that's where the information came from. It just takes a string or a number or whatever the content from that array is going to be, and then it just outputs whatever you need the end result to be. Even if you need it to be 5 things, even if you need it to like do a bunch of weird math and then add everything up and then like divide by 67 and then turn it blue, like whatever you need to do, you can just put it in that function and then call it from where you are doing the loop through, and that's recursion. And so the dangerous things about recursion are twofold. The first one is you don't want to get stuck in an infinite recursion loop, because just like with a discrete loop that you're doing in your inline code, if you don't check for some condition to stop it, it will keep calling that function forever and ever and ever, and you don't want that. So the other dangerous thing about recursion is memory usage. But luckily for JavaScript developers, JavaScript is designed to assume async functions, and so it is very aggressive with its garbage collection. So you don't actually have to worry about just racking up a huge, ridiculous amount of memory usage like you might in other languages. If you use recursion, you can just call out to a function 11 billion times, and it's going to release its memory after every single return instead of chaining them together, because it assumes async. And that's basically what async means, is it doesn't assume that you're going to want to sequentially keep all of the memory that you're working on over time. It assumes that every time you call a discrete function of any kind, that you want to have it be completely unrelated to anything else that's going on. Questions, comments, concerns?
Recursion. Okay, I got it. I follow, especially with the garbage collection stuff. Yeah, I was just reading about that the other day, so it's really cool to hear some actual relevant stuff about that.
Yeah, recursion is one of those things, like algorithms, that sounds a lot scarier than it is. Like, once you get your head around what it actually is, you realize that it's just a fancy word for something normal. And the reason to use the fancy word is really just because it references a bunch of edge cases that you mostly don't need to think about, but might sometimes. And so you use the fancy word to remind you that there are weird edge cases you might need to worry about at some point. But mostly, recursion is just calling a function over and over and over again instead of a loop.
And then for I know for the learning lab that is still being updated currently, we will get that out soon. It talks about recursion, and it talks about Fibonacci sequence. I've been hearing Fibonacci sequence drilled into my head all semester from this fundamentals of algorithms course that I'm taking, and quite frankly, I'm getting tired of it, but it really is like super useful when learning about recursion. Like, it makes sense. When I watched the video on it, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. Like, this wasn't as crazy as my professor made it seem. So once everyone gets that update, definitely check that out. Read about Fibonacci sequence. It's really helpful. Like, seeing numbers helps me really know what's going on, because that pseudocode and whatnot that my professor writes on his board and thinks that I'm going to pick up on, it doesn't work all the time. But seeing the numbers is super helpful when it comes to recursion.
There are a billion different ways to learn things, and whichever way works for you is the one you should lean into. So for some people, I am sure the pseudocode clicks in their brain immediately. And I am sure that for you, getting to see how these things apply to math makes it click immediately. Like, whatever people find to be sticky for their brain, that is the right learning method for you. Don't worry about like there being a right way or a wrong way to learn. It's all just about what helps you get it into your brain.
Yeah, sorry, there's like a thunderstorm happening outside my window, so I keep muting it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to see a thunderstorm here now.
But yeah, the recursion example in our GitHub repo is super straightforward. It uses a hello world example, which, like, obviously we could use a for loop for, but like in terms of being an introduction to recursion, it's super helpful. I can actually, let's see, I will open that up in just like a random VS Code thingy really quick. So yeah, let me share my screen. So yeah, this is the example that will be in the GitHub. It prints out hello world 5 times. Well, if you pass in 5 when you call the function. So we have the count here, and it uses fancy magic recursion to print out hello world, and it'll reduce your count, so we're not stuck in that infinite recursion forever for the rest of our lives. It'll reduce your count each time. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It'll print out hello world, however many times you pass in for a count. So that's a super helpful, super easy example for people looking at recursion for the first time. And then it also goes into that the Fibonacci number that I mentioned earlier.
And a recursive function doesn't have to have side effects. Like the hello world example is an example of a recursive function that has side effects. It prints out hello world. But a lot of times when you're using a recursive function, you don't actually care about any of the intermediate steps. You just want it to call itself until it has your final answer, and it can do that too. It doesn't need to have any side effects. It can just call itself over and over and over again until it has the end result you're looking for, and then just returns that end result.
So yeah, we will get that out to everyone. Learn about recursion. If you need any help, definitely come in the Slack. We'll talk about recursion if you want. Ask any questions. We want to get everyone caught up on the content, everyone on the same page, so that we can start with our final projects. Start talking to your mentors, talk to each other, what ideas you have. That's what we're going to be focusing on next week is brainstorming, lots of brainstorming. And I think we want to have our work session on Wednesday, and we want to have another one on Sunday to get everyone all caught up with all the week 1, week 2 content, and then upcoming week 3 content. So please look out. I will send a calendar invite for those work sessions, and we have a message on Slack right now to make sure we find a time that works for everyone. So please be active on Slack, check Slack. And just keep up with all the content. Keep in contact with your mentors because they are very extremely helpful. And yeah, any questions that anyone has, feel free to send them in the Slack, whether that be to the main channel with everyone, or if you have a question just for your mentor that I can't answer, ask your mentor. And yeah, that's all we have for this week. I'm excited to do some more recursion stuff that's not for a class. It's just not fun when I have to do it for class. So I'm excited to learn about that, and I'm excited to see what everyone comes up with for their projects. Yeah, I will let you.
Also, look in Slack and add your information to the form if you want me to send you a holiday card and Twilio Quest sticker, because that's happening very soon.
Yeah, I'll send that again too for people that don't want to scroll up. But yeah, I'll drop that again. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and we can end the stream here. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will send a message to everyone on Slack to get everyone on the same page. Thank you.